Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope your first week is going well. It's a very bizarre one. You don't really see anybody, at least for me. I wanted to talk with you for a few minutes about the readings for this week, just to give a little bit of a framework of how I hope we can put these two together, and a little bit more information about the assignments that you have due today at midnight, the first Wednesday reading reflection, and then the first weekly reflection that's due on Friday. The assignment guides are up on the syllabus, so I trust you've seen the links for those. I want to just elaborate a little bit on those, but nothing in this video is new and hopefully not contradictory to what's already on the website. In terms of the readings for this week, we have a little bit less to read than we normally would, in part because it's just 2 days of readings. I think it's nice to kind of accelerate into the class, but we do have 2 regular assignments, that's typical of what you'll be doing the rest of the semester, so I think it's nice to jump into those. The articles we're reading for this week, the one for today is an op-ed from the New York Times, I think from 2014, so it seems kind of ancient, but it could have been written yesterday. I think the issues are exactly the same. Friday is a more recent reading. They both talk about how we learn anything about nutrition. How do we know how food interacts with the body? How do we know what to eat? How do we know what's healthy? Where might we be going wrong? The first one we read, Wednesday, today's, Gary Taubes talks about the science of nutrition. And one of the implicit assumptions is that science is going to give us more nutritional information, that we just haven't been doing the right kind of studies, we haven't been thinking about it the right way, but if we continue to measure things and do good experiments and analyze the results carefully, we'll have more knowledge, better knowledge, and people will be healthier. That's just kind of built into the article. That's kind of one of the things that the author is assuming. On Friday, Jessica Mudry's article, or introductory chapter, we're reading a couple other chapters from her book later on, she focuses on the language of diet and health and how even the way we talk about and write about nutrition and what constitutes healthy foods or healthy bodies influences our understanding of it. So very different ways of thinking about how we create knowledge about nutrition. How do we understand what is healthy? How do we understand the relationship between diet and health, which on one hand seems kind of obvious. On the other hand, when you think about studying it in a very rigorous way, it's really, really, really hard. So it prompts some very difficult questions about how do we study this kind of stuff? And what assumptions do different people make about how we can study it, what we can and can't know? So that's the framework that I hope you can keep in mind as you read these 2 articles for this week. And if you look ahead, and you should, at the Friday weekly discussion prompt on the syllabus, you'll see that what I'm asking you to do for that weekly reflection is to sort of compare and contrast their different assumptions and approaches. So keep this in mind as you start in on the reading for today. Keep in mind the big picture, not just the details of the article. We're not reading these as with anything in this class, everything in this class. We're not reading it because it's right or you need to learn it and know it and believe it. We're reading it because it helps us think more critically and carefully about the issues that the authors are talking about. And so we use them as food for thought and practice our critical reflection skills, not because it's something you need to know. That's just not what kind of class this is. So everything, you can agree and disagree with different aspects of it. You should. I certainly do. So I encourage that kind of critical engagement with all the readings. Never am I assigning something because it's right and you need to know it. Right? I'm assigning it because it helps us think more carefully. Okay, a quick note about the assignments that you're doing. Let's start with the reading reflection that's due today. 150 to 200 words. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the syllabus here just so we can see the guidelines. If there's anything that's not clear on the guidelines page for the assignment, please let me know. Okay, here we are, Wednesday 19. Here's the article. Here's the link to the reading reflections assignment. Let's a guidelines page. Let's go there. There's stuff here about groups 1 and 2, so we'll divide up the class and people will write on slightly different things. We're not doing that this week or next, so don't worry about that. Everyone's just kind of doing what I call a standard reflection, and you're doing a combination of things, which is to think about the questions that are on the syllabus. Let's go back to that. So here's some questions that I want you to think about as you're reading the article. I think it helps when you have some questions in mind or you have some idea of why I'm assigning this to you. So here are the things I kind of want you to think about, and this is what you'll be writing about, and this is part of what you'll sort of fold into your weekly reflection on Friday. Anyway, so think about these things, but what you're really doing for your assignment, 150 to 200 words, is to really write about these things, right? How can you address the questions in the prompt? What did you find interesting? What's confusing? How much do you agree or disagree? What questions came up for you, right? So it's really your personal reaction to the readings. It's very important that your reflections are grounded in the reading, okay? I don't want you to write something just to write it without having done the reading, because then it's totally obvious. You'll see this in other people's posts from time to time where they just sort of offer their opinion about something, about the questions, but it's clear that they hadn't really done the reading. So make sure before you hit the submit button, okay, before you post it on Learn, make sure that you read it and think to yourself, okay, is it obvious that I've done the reading here? And if you're not sure, you might want to bring in a little bit more of the reading. Again, don't summarize it, but make sure that your opinions and your response is based on actually having read it. Okay. Basics down here, 150 to 200 words. Original thinking, avoid summarizing. We've all read it, okay? We know what's in it. Nobody wants to just read it again. So don't just summarize the readings. That doesn't tell me you read it. It told me you picked out a couple sentences to paraphrase. Okay, informal writing. Be yourself, okay? Write the way you want to write. Use your language. Use your phrases. Use your analysis. Don't try to write like somebody else. Write like you, okay? These are short, 150 to 200 words, so it doesn't take very long to go through one last time and make sure that they make sense, that they're reflective of your own thinking, okay? These are reflections. It's your ideas, your response to the readings based on reading and carefully thinking about it and then writing something coherent enough that people can understand what you were thinking about it. Okay, make sure they're posted on time, which means midnight. I want to make sure we stay on schedule because we just keep moving along evenly. Late posts are docked 0.5 points per day. If you are late with something, it doesn't really matter in the end, but if you skip assignments altogether, that does add up really quick. Okay, so don't neglect the assignments. These posts are meant to be something of a creative exercise to let you express yourself and your ideas, opinions about the reading, okay? We're all interested in learning more about what each other thinks about it, not just seeing it sort of rephrased, paraphrased over and over and over again. Okay, one very important point here, there's no right answer, okay? There's no correct way to answer these questions, right? It's your take on it. Okay, just make sure it's based on the readings. Here's how I score them. This is pretty straightforward, so I won't rehash it for you here. The idea with all of these sort of daily reading reflections that you'll do many Mondays and Wednesdays is that overall, throughout the semester, they add up so that if you're doing the reading and can reflect on them and write something coherent, you're going to be getting 1.5 to 2 points basically consistently. And then by the end, you've accumulated a lot of points for doing that work. But if you skip them or you're doing them just, in 5 minutes without really having done the reading, you're not going to get many points. So you can do consistent damage to your grade throughout the semester. But if you're really making a legitimate effort, you're going to be fine. But here's the rubric right here. If you have any questions about it, let me know. It should be pretty straightforward. Basically, the main goal here is to hold you accountable for doing the readings and to make sure that we all stay together in terms of moving along and keeping up. Okay, that's for today. That's for Wednesday's reading reflection. There's another assignment due Friday. Let me go back to the syllabus. There's a weekly reflection. Here's the guidelines for that. Similar kinds of things, it's longer, so 600 to 800 words. So basically, if you aim for 700 and then you're plus or minus a little bit, you're fine. Make sure that it's clear you've read the assignment, okay? Free of typos and mistakes. This is the same stuff that's on the Wednesday thing. Posted by midnight on Fridays. Okay, what you need to do, there's two things that I want you to do in your weekly posts. Address questions that are on the syllabus. So if we go back to that for a second, you see that there's always going to be 3 or 4 different questions here. I've already sort of talked about these earlier in this video. So make sure you're addressing those, and then describe your own learning experience and reflection on the readings for the week and how they connect to each other. Okay, same stuff that you're kind of doing for your daily post as well. What did you find most interesting? What was least interesting? What conflicted with each other? What problems did you have? Where did you disagree with it? If you want, you can divide your post, your 600 to 800 word post, into 2 parts, and then do, part 1, answer the questions, and then talk about your own feelings and experience with it. You can also just blend everything together. If you find it easier just to answer the questions and interject your opinions on certain points, great, do that. Whatever is most natural, whatever is easiest. Sometimes you'll feel like doing one, sometimes you'll feel like doing the other. Whatever works. I just want you to have roughly both equal parts of both aspects to it, right? Answering the questions and putting your own opinion in there. And just like the daily reading reflections, make sure they're based in the set of readings for the week. It should be pretty easy this week because there's just 2 things, okay? And again, reflect, don't summarize, right? I want your personal take on the questions and your learning experience. There's no right answer to these. I don't want summary. No one wants summary. Of course, you might restate an idea here or there to riff on it, to contradict it, to agree with it. That's fine. But make sure the bulk of your post is your own original response to the questions and to your experience reading the articles and trying to understand what they're trying to say and if you agree or not. Okay, I think that's it. Again, guidelines pages are here and linked to on the syllabus. They're also in the links and guides page. If you just need to get to one, you don't need to find the link on the syllabus. You can just come up here and click, and all the assignment guides are here. If something's not clear, something's ambiguous, if something's missing, if I've totally contradicted myself somewhere, which is totally possible, if not likely, let me know. Slack is the best way to do that because other people can sort of see that exchange and see how it gets worked out. Email is fine too. One word about Slack. Thank you, Natalie, for telling me about this. The invitation link, which some of you have maybe clicked on, had expired, which I forgot happened. I've put a new one there as this morning. So if you are interested in Slack, and I hope you'll at least connect to it and say hello and just check it out now and then to see what happens. And then if you need to use it or want to use it later, you've already got some experience with it. So I apologize for that inconvenience and annoyance that something didn't work. But that's fixed now, so you should be able to join the workspace and post there and see what's going on, no problem. Let me know if you have any trouble with that, and we'll get it taken care of. Otherwise, I think we're set. Again, I hope your first week is going well. I'll be out of your hair for the rest of the week. I'll be back in touch Monday morning with a lecture on classical diet and health, ancient Greece and Rome. And it's a fascinating topic because some of their ideas about nutrition and diet and health are just completely wrong, like just completely. And other things have been so persistent that they still remain sort of a backbone of how we think about diet and health even 2,000 plus years later. So it's an interesting sort of juxtaposition of sort of philosophy and their own knowledge at the time, and it was a basis for Western medicine for 1,500 plus years. So it's worth taking a look at. So we'll do that on Monday. Otherwise, have a great rest of the week and a weekend, and I will see you later. Bye.